Hello everybody, I'm Jim Durrett, Mayor of Montgomery County, and this is another one of our series of shining the spotlight of where it needs to be shown. And today I'm interviewing Michelle Lowe, our Director of Human Resources, and probably one of the tougher jobs in county government. Michelle's nodding her head a little bit. But Michelle, before we get into really your job and all of that stuff and what you do, tell everybody about Michelle Lowe.
Okay. Again, my name is Michelle Lowe. I am originally from Michigan, did 22 years in the military service, never stationed here in Tennessee, never at Fort Campbell. Prayed, and this is where the Lord brought me after I retired. Have one son and been married for 28 years.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your service to our nation. What brought y'all to Clarksville?
Literally, when I first retired out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, I went to North Carolina for about a year to help out with his mom. She was having some health issues, and then knew North Carolina was not the place for me.
Yeah.
And just asked the Lord, where do you want to use us at? And that's what brought us to Clarksville. He sent us here, literally.
Awesome. So what'd you do? What year was that when you came here?
2009.
Yeah. So what'd you do then when you first came here?
When I first came here, I took a little sabbatical from working.
Awesome.
A very little one. And then I started working at Workforce Essentials, worked there almost 10 years. And from there, I took a very little sabbatical before I started working here.
Yeah. And so your first job with Montgomery County was, it wasn't HR director.
No, it was not. It was my passion, which is diversity, which falls under HR. So I was diversity and training officer, which I absolutely love.
And you did that for?
A year, made it in that role.
But you started when?
I started right when the pandemic started. Literally, I started on June 27th, and pandemic pretty much hit us February, March timeframe.
Yeah. So you start, and one of the things in that role, diversity and training, is getting out and being around people and getting people together to have conversations and stuff, and that just shut down.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was a brake screeching halt. So didn't get an opportunity to do that, but still could do some of the training pieces within the government. So.
Yeah. And so about 15 months ago, our HR director left us, and I asked Michelle to come in and serve as interim, and you did that for what, 3 months? 4 months?
From August to December, so
yeah,
about 4 months.
Yeah, so 4 months, and then she actually became our director of HR, and we were talking, I think it was just this week or last week, and you'd been here a year, and it was like, dadgum, Michelle, it just seems like it was yesterday.
It did. It kind of snuck up on me. And I was telling you, can you believe it's been a year?
Yeah.
I don't even know what happened in that year. It just flew by, so.
Well, that's great. So you worked for county government
2 years.
2 years?
A little over
2
2
years?
years.
What do you think something, and you're in a very impactful role. And I think that's awesome, because I think you're that kind of individual. I think you're an impactful individual. What's something impactful or significant that you think you've done in your short period of time as being director of HR?
By far, hands down, the Leadership Academy. When I came into the diversity role, I saw things that I was like, we could do something to improve this area. And so I had talked to yourself, I talked to Kyle, and kind of threw around the idea of starting the Leadership Academy, and we actually got that up and running.
Yeah.
So.
And I think the employees love it too, don't you?
Absolutely. And it was amazing because we just started our second class on last Tuesday, and just hearing people talk about, hey, I saw somebody else go through it and I saw a change in their leadership.
Yeah.
And that, I was like, yes, we're making that impact.
Yeah,
so
that's huge. That's huge. So you got out of the military, you worked for Workforce Essentials and you came to work for the government again, for lack of better words, but obviously being director of HR and being in the United States Army are totally different.
World of difference.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what do you like about this side of government?
Honestly, there's an opportunity for me to make an impact where there is a lack of structure, trying to put that kind of structure into the HR department and into county government.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in the military, I tell people all the time, if you want to move this bottle from here to here, there's a regulation for that.
Yeah.
There is a policy and guideline for how do you move this for that.
Right.
So.
Well, I could answer this question for you, but I want you to answer it. But I know as HR director, what's a typical day look like?
There's no such thing as a typical day, but really a lot of meetings, a lot of drop in and need to talk to you, fires, I guess, putting out fires and handling, day to day, I guess, issues and concerns. My biggest thing is I want to make an impact with the employees. I want to be there for them. I want them to know our door is definitely always open. So the day-to-day, if I need to drop something in order to help an employee to make sure they understand they're valued, I often say humans are our greatest resource. Mm-hmm. So without the people in the county that we're working for, we wouldn't have jobs. So giving them first-class service is the thing that most impacts me in order to impact them.
Right.
So.
There's a lot of really big initiatives going on in HR right now too. You want to talk about a couple of those?
One of them is we're doing a pay study. It's not a typical pay study, it's a deep dive pay study, trying to figure out where are we compared to rest of the areas around us, making sure everybody is literally being paid equitable, matching up and not losing people because we're underpaying.
Right.
I think county government or any government our people should definitely be paid at the top of the barrel, not at the bottom, or at least equitably with everybody else. Another one is we're trying to get a HRIS system, which is a human resource information system, put in place, and that's really to make sure we have systems in place to ensure when we're doing paperwork, we're not antiquated. We are up to date in the 21st century and making sure we're getting things done properly and not going in circles. Yeah,
there's some pretty good technological advances out there, I think, that you're really seeing that you can take advantage of.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're also thankful that we just hired a recruiter, and that's one of the things with the HRIS system, getting that recruiter aboard and the technology that's there that we can definitely incorporate the recruiter going out to universities, but a lot of things also online.
Right,
with that technology.
Awesome. Michelle, what do you see as some short-term and long-term challenges for the HR department?
Short term, I guess it's a short and long term, is getting the systems put in place. First selecting the HRIS system, then instituting it, getting it implemented within Montgomery County government, because it's not going to just impact HR. It should impact the entire county, helping us get things moving smoother, the accountability, transitioning documents from one place to the other and all that good stuff. Another one is really the pay study, making sure we can prayerfully get that implemented. Those are the big ones. We still have 2 positions out there that we're trying to hire for to really fill those positions and make sure we have a backup to the backup kind of thing going on.
Good bench strength.
Absolutely.
You know, I think something that's very unique, and you and I probably talked about this, but maybe not a whole lot, but I always say that HR is the hub of the wheel, because everything comes through HR, and so all the spokes, they couldn't function without the hub. But in your role, I'm an elected official. Of course, you know, we don't have a lot of turnover and that kind of stuff in the mayor's office, but you know, we're gonna interview all of our elected officials, but you've got all these other elected officials that really are not a department head. I mean, they're an employee of county government, but they're unelected officials, and some by state law can have their own personnel policies and procedures. That's got to be tough.
You know what, sir, it is a little. Some departments literally do what they want in a sense, where they do have their own policies and procedures. Whereas most of the departments, elected officials, they are accommodating and they do try to adhere to Montgomery County policies. Right now, that's another one of our big things that we're doing is going over the policy manual, making sure everything aligns right. Making sure we have those policies and assigning policy numbers and just really taking a deep dive into our policies and making sure we're doing the right thing by the county, by the elected officials. We have a whole committee that we're all looking at it and seeing the things that don't make sense and the things that do. We're gonna keep the good and kind of try to get rid of the bad stuff that just is more confusing than anything.
Yeah. And so, you know, if you take your job and put it over, and I'll just use city government as an example, and you're hired as director of HR, all of the people are department heads, and so the mayor can say, Michelle's our HR director, and what she says goes. We've got great elected officials. I mean, we really do, and we've talked about that with some other folks that we've interviewed, but you really have to earn their trust, where in the environment with city government, it's totally different because you are it and that's the way it's gonna be.
Absolutely. I think earning their trust is one of those things, letting them know. There's that saying, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah.
And I care about them all equally, whether they're elected or they're not elected, and just trying to do the right thing regardless, not having a standard for elected official and a standard here, trying to explain why we want to make sure we're all on equal footing. And I think when we have those two standards, it confuses people.
Yeah.
And especially not so much the elected official, but it confuses the people that works for them and that works for a department head. So that's very confusing to have two totally different systems. And if we can come together, one accord kind of thing, and just understand why it's important to have pretty much the same policies. And we do understand that dress attire may be a little different for somebody that's working in Parks and Rec than somebody that's working for this elected official in the courthouse. So we understand that, but for the most part, we try to keep everything together.
In the world of human resources, consistency is very, very important, isn't it?
Absolutely. Honestly, I think that's probably one of the biggest issues is people don't understand different departments, and then, well, she got wrote up for this, well, I didn't get wrote up, or they didn't get wrote up, and that whole consistency thing will start a whole wildfire, sir. That inconsistencies will start a wildfire.
It's really important. It's really important. So you're interviewing somebody, you just said you hired a recruiter. Why do you tell that individual or those individuals that you interview, why do you tell them it's a great idea to come to work for Montgomery County?
Honestly, because it is. Number one, I have to say, I never dreamed of working for county government, never even crossed my mind. But once I got here, realizing all the benefits of it, literally, I don't think anybody can touch our medical, dental benefits, that kind of thing. It's like huge. The medical benefits alone is probably hands down next to the Army, the military.
Yeah.
It's probably the best benefits you're gonna get. And then truly, if you get on a team in Montgomery County, I think there's that unity that comes with that. You're part of something bigger than yourself, you know? Kind of like, again, the military, just wearing that military uniform, you're part of the team. So when you say that I work for the trustee's office, you feel like you can stand up a little straighter. Or
Right.
I work for the mayor's office. You stand up a little straighter, you know, and
Yeah.
it makes a difference. I think it's something that people are literally proud of. So when I say I'm the HR for Montgomery County government, it's like, yeah, wow, I'm the HR for Montgomery County
Yeah.
government, and it's a big deal.
So you talked about some of the similarities between the Army and, I guess, local government.
Yes, sir.
What are some of the big what are some differences? Because I think it's interesting. I mean, I do.
Some of the biggest difference is the structure. It's really, I was having a conversation.
Acronyms.
Acronyms, the customs and courtesies.
Yeah.
I was saying sir to you, and you were like, that drives me crazy. And just out of respect, military, if somebody is outranking you, it's sir, it's ma'am, period. It's nothing to be discussed.
Right.
So that, as well as the structure of it, there is literally in the military, there is a policy for everything. There is a regulation, again, you need to move this bottle, I need to give it to you. There's a policy. How do you hand it? Do you hand it with your right hand to his right hand?
Yeah.
There's protocols for everything. And that's one of the things that it's hard for people who are in the military to adjust when they get out of the military.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter whether they're coming to county government, whether they're going to private operations, it's a huge difference.
Yeah. Was that a tough transition for you when you went to work for Workforce Essentials?
Absolutely, absolutely, because I would ask one person how to do one thing, and they would tell me one way, and then I may ask another person because that person wasn't around, and they would tell me something different, and I'm just like, no, that's not what this person told me.
Yeah.
It is a very hard, especially the longer you're in the military, the more you're accustomed to that structure.
Yeah.
And so absolutely very, very difficult transition.
Yeah. We have an awesome military though.
We do.
We
I wouldn't have traded it for nothing. Sir.
Awesome. That's so good to hear you say that. So God led you to Montgomery County.
Absolutely.
And I think that's so awesome. But if you see somebody out on the street and start having a conversation with them, what does Michelle Lowe tell them why they should move to? If they're thinking about moving here, what does Michelle Lowe tell them? Why?
I'll kick into the diversity part of it. Montgomery County is extremely diverse. It has a lot of different cultures, ethnicities, different people. The diversity of it, it's amazing. There's a lot to do. It's growing and growing. When we got here, I'll use Tiny Town as an example. There was a lot of cornfields, but now there's a lot of building, but that tells you, my pastor said, healthy things grow. And so it's a healthy place to be. It's a good environment to raise your kids. We raised our son here pretty much all his life. It's just a good place. You get the riverfront, you have all these different areas. You have the event center coming online. I mean, there's a lot to do. And I can see in the future a lot more coming here as far as family activities. There's a lot of parks here. I live right down the street from Liberty Park, and my favorite place to walk or run. But it's just a good place. It's a good, healthy place, and the people. And then you have Fort Campbell and that part.
Which really makes us diverse like we are.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know, you talk about Tiny Town Road. I can remember being 12, 13 years old, driving a tractor down Tiny Town Road, 2-lane road, and may not even see a vehicle.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
When I came, only the movie theater, and they were just building Wendy's. Now you go out there, and it's like.
When I was a kid, it may have been dirt out there by the movie theater. So, tell me what's one of the most gratifying parts of your job?
Helping people. Always helping people. Anything I can do, if somebody's struggling with something, there's people who have had unfortunate deaths, or anything I can do to help them get through a rough spot, even if they just need somebody to vent to. Helping people by far is probably absolutely the most gratifying part of my job.
That's awesome. Would you recommend a life of public service to somebody?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Public service is beyond yourself. Doing something that's so much bigger than you. And if you can impact the life of just one person, in public service, that's the way to go.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's very special. Anything I didn't ask you that I should have asked you, or you may want to just talk about?
No, you know what, with HR, I know while we're highlighting me, I highlight the people that's in my office, and if it weren't for those amazing ladies right now, we've been trying to recruit a male, but we can't find any. Yeah, so anyway, probably the ladies in my office, I would just highlight all that they do day to day, from making sure payroll and special projects and payroll is done with excellence, and making sure our benefits are online, on point, and service awards and veteran service awards and all kind of things that they're doing in the background while I'm being highlighted. I shine the light on them.
Awesome. And people, again, I don't know if they know the volume of stuff that comes through the HR office, but we have this, we call it the PAF. That's one of the few acronyms that we have, but it's a personnel action form. And unfortunately, there's a lot of turnover, and there's a lot of new people coming on board, a lot of people leaving for different reasons, and all those forms are coming through HR. They've got salary codes on them. They got all those things, and then you talked about the benefits. And so there's benefits that you're always talking about. So it's a busy place, isn't it?
Absolutely. So you said one transaction, whether it's a hiring or somebody leaving for whatever reason, it literally goes through our payroll person, and then it goes through our benefits person. They have to make sure the pay stops. They have to make sure benefits go out to where it's supposed to go out to. They have to make sure all the vacation time is paid out properly and all that. It is literally not just one person. One person couldn't do all that needs to be done for our county.
And yeah, I think y'all operate very leanly too. Yeah, you do.
We really try, and we're trying to make sure where we hire the recruiter, we're literally, the purpose of that is to take some of the responsibility off of department heads and elected officials, put it back where it's supposed to be in the HR. So we're screening the resumes and the applications and ensuring that we take some pressure off of them. They don't have time to screen 100 applications or resumes. They tell us what they want, what they're looking for, we screen, and then we send them the ones that match what they want. So. Yeah.
Well, you're doing an awesome job.
Well, thank you, sir.
It's a pleasure serving with you, and I just appreciate you and everybody in HR, because I know you are the hub that makes the wheel turn. So.
Well, I tell you thank you too, sir, because one, you believed in me and gave me the opportunity to become the HR
anybody
director.
that ever met you would believe in you. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.